Well, hello everyone. It's Wednesday and I'm back and I've got a few things to show you. Um, a really cool pattern that I just had to buy, and it was expensive, but it's so worth it. But I started off on Sunday making some more Rowdy the Rooster from Stacy Makes. And I must have still been really tired because I thought I was grabbing the rust color and I grabbed pumpkin spice. I mean, it still looks okay, but it's definitely a noticeable difference. So I found some more of the Bernat. I think they call it tweed, but it was a different color. Kind of the same colors, but like the base color was darker. I like the lighter one better. I don't know the names, but this one was the first Rowdy. I forgot to sew in his, or crochet in his wattle, so I had to surface crochet it to give him the wattle. And you know, it's funny, I was studying my chickens that I have. I have 3, well, I had 4. 1 died. The rooster that was supposed to have been a hen just kind of disappeared. I think it might be back in with the neighbor's big flock of chickens, you know, doing his thing. But so we have 2 hens and this rooster that I have no idea who he belongs to, but he lives in my powder puff tree. So I'm looking at all of them, and the white hen is a longhorn, and I can't remember what the gray one is, but both the hens have wattles as well. So putting a wattle on it doesn't necessarily make it a rooster. So if you like the wattle, it can still be a hen. So I did use the tail from the seagull or the pelican, I can't remember, and put it on here. But this is the color I was talking about. It's the base color of it is darker. And this was supposed to be rust. I used pumpkin spice. So it's what happens when you crochet when you're tired. And in the dark, you just don't see things the right way. What can I say? Then I had another Bernat color that I have no idea. And I had a tough time picking a color to go with it because I'm not really sure what color it is. It kind of looks like a brown, but then it kind of looks like a pink to me. So I remembered the wattle this time. And again, I gave it the tail. So we have this one, and he's a little bit smaller height-wise than this one. Just a little. Not a big deal. Then I did one more. And I think this, whoops, I think this is a big twist color. I'm not sure. It could be a Bernat. I don't know. And I was trying to pick a color that would go good with it because I really do like the two-tone look with these roosters. The rooster that lives in my powder puff tree, his body is kind of black with a little bit of white. His head is white, but his fluffy tail feathers are kind of a bluish green looking color. He's interesting. So I want to say this is almond. I'm not sure. I really need to keep little pieces and make myself a color chart and put the name next to it so that if it's one that I like, I can order it again and not make mistakes ordering it. So we did these 3. I think this one of these 3 is my favorite with the coloring. So we did those. They were pretty quick. And when I got finished with those, I was like, let me remake some black loaf cats. And I have to look up the pattern designer. She's on Instagram. It's a free pattern. So last market, I took 2 loaf cats with me, that one solid black and one in the mystical. The solid black sold first, then the mystical. So I decided, let me just do 2 solid black. So we did these 2. One has blue eyes, and one has kind of gold colored eyes. I'm really getting low on the colored eyes. So we did those, and I was being lazy, just did the X for the nose. But so I have 2 black loaf cats. So then I was talking with Mary, and I'm like, I think I want to take the little chicks that go in the chick and egg pattern that I bought and see if I can't make them on a swing, but not really a swing, a nest. So I tried it out. I made a chick and then made a nest. And for the nest, I did the bottom part of the egg, less 2 rounds. And then to give it the edge, I did a single crochet and a chain, single crochet and a chain all the way around, so it looks like it has that little ruffled edge. Now this one is out of Sweet Snuggles Light and Home Slim. And it's a little bigger than I think it should be for a car swing. You know, I don't want it to obstruct anybody's view. So I tried it with Parfait Chunky and did it the exact same way. And I think this is more of a reasonable size. So I did 2 little car swings. And then I have been putting it off for so long, and I don't know why, because I really do like making these. But I decided I need to restock some of my chunks because it's down to ones that are almost all the same color. Like I have no Pikachus and no Eevees and no, I don't know their names. I'm not even going to pretend that I do. So I started off with Pikachu, and I was doing it 2 at a time. Like I got 2 of the bodies made, then I made 4 ears and sew the ears on and do the tails. You crochet them on so you don't, I don't know why I used brown. It should have been black like the ears. I just noticed that. Oh boy. Oh well. Nobody will know. So we have 2 Pikachu chunks. I think she calls them Electric Mouse. And this is by Naughty Nat. She has a whole bunch of them. I even saw a little post where she's giving a sneak peek, only a partial view. She's got more coming out. I can't, there's so many. There's a ton of Pokemon, so that's why there's so many of these chunks. And I just noticed I didn't work in a tail. So, yeah, there's that. So then I did only 1 Eevee because I didn't have the right size eye. These are supposed to be 16 millimeter oval shaped eyes. So these are a little small. And I used the fur this time instead of the little bunny. And it's definitely fluffier, but it's not necessarily the right color. But it works. So this one gets 1 extra round than most of the other chunks because of the round that you do to put the fur. And he also, this tail you make separate and then sew it on, and you have to sew the ears on. So we have 1 Eevee, and we need more. I need to dig them out of my bag and see which ones I have and which ones I don't have, so that I make the ones that I don't have, because obviously if I don't have them, they're the ones that sold. So we did those. Then Tracy from Travel Crochet contacted me and asked me if I would like to do a pattern test. She said it's going to be for a free pattern on Instagram. And I'm like, sure, send it over. I'll take a look. So she sent it over, and it's a little frog. And this thing is so fast to make. I will be making more. I just did 2 because I had this paid pattern sitting there that was just killing me to get to. So this one was my first one. And this is some burnt color. I don't know what color it is. But this frog has a booty. And I want to say, well, you can kind of see it like that. When you use a solid color instead of the variegated, the booty shows up much better. Super fast. And I think she's going to have this little pattern available Friday for free on Instagram. So then I wanted to see how big would it come out if I did it in Parfait Chunky. And it's a size difference, but I still messed up because I had been sitting there making all these things with my 6mm hook. And I just automatically picked up the 6mm and did my Parfait Chunky with a 6mm. That is just unheard of. I always use a 5 most of the time. Sometimes I do a 4.5 if it's really thin. But if it's normal Parfait, I use a 5mm. So I tried doing one with the Parfait Chunky, and like I said, this one was a 6mm hook. So there is a little bit of size difference. It'll be a little bit smaller with the 5mm. And I put a keychain on it. And you can see, because it's a solid color, you can really see the butt cheeks. I think she calls this Booty Bob or Bob the Booty Frog, something like that. But it's like super fast to make. And one of these days, and this just might be it, I'm going to find a frog pattern that people actually like. Because a lot of people do like frogs or are intrigued with frogs, or, you know, I just haven't been successful with frog patterns. So who knows? This might be the one. But I'm going to try some. And they're a quick make to fill up a little basket. So we did those. And then there's that paid pattern. This pattern cost me $10. And it's only available on Patreon. But you do not have to be a Patreon member in order to buy this pattern. And the pattern is by That Nerdy Hooker. She's on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I don't think she has a YouTube channel. So my first one is Molly. And, well, let me explain. The reason it was a little more expensive is because it's actually 2 patterns in one, even though one's a modification. But it's totally 2 patterns. There's a lot of difference in them. So with Molly, it required yellow. And in Parfait Chunky was the closest I could get to all the colors that were needed to make her. So my yellow that I have, and I have like 2 or 3 skeins of it, is very thin. So if I would have used that yellow, it would have been a little peanut head on a big body because of how thin it is. So I used the maize, the new yellow. And then I didn't have chocolate because they've been out of stock the last probably 3 or 4 times I've tried to place an order. And I had to use the espresso, which is really dark. It almost looks black. Plus, these require felt eyes. And on this first one was my first attempt of making felt eyes on my own. Now, you're going to say, how did you do that? I bought myself this Sizzix Sidekick. Now, it's only got a 2-inch opening here, which I consulted with Sue because she's a paper crafter, and this is a paper crafting tool. And for what I need to use it for, to make eyes, this is plenty big enough. So it was about half the price of the other types of machines that are like this. So I went with this one. And then you get these metal dies. They call them nesting dies. They're thin wafer dies, thinlits. But I got 2 different types of ovals. Well, there's another type out there, and that's the one I needed for this. But I ended up using this style. And did it the same colors as the pattern said to. So the eyes are a little off, but not bad for my first try. Also, I learned something new in this pattern. Before I show you Molly, you have to tie with 1 strand of Parfait Chunky a bow on the dress. And this pattern actually explained how to be able to do that and not have your ends shed. So I wanted to share that with you because you see so many people that use things like the Parfait Chunky or the Home Slim, you know, the chenille yarn, and it does shed so badly that I don't follow the patterns on those, and then it looks different. You know, it alters the way it comes out. So in order to do that, you take your string, cut it a little bit longer than what it's going to be, and start pulling the fluff off of the end. And when you do that, you get these 2 strings. So you're going to take those 2 strings and you're going to tie a knot, if you can hold on to them. Which, of course, my fingers are not working right today. Okay, so you tie a knot. And then, of course, you're going to trim off that string. Be careful not to cut your knot. And then, when you're sitting there pulling on it, it is not shedding. Now, this was like something where I messed up and I didn't like how it looked, so I pulled it out of a plushie, so it's like tattered, but it's not coming off of there. It's not shedding. Why didn't somebody tell me this sooner? Oh. Anyhow, now you guys know that trick. Somebody should have told us sooner. Okay, so you ready to see Molly? I wish my colors were right, and I wish I had the right shape eye, but she still looks cute. So here is Molly. Molly is a villager in the game Animal Crossing. There is a lot of sewing. Let me just put that out there right now. This is not a fast market make, but I like doing stuff like this, which helps me stand out in the crowd. So the arms are crocheted in. The legs you have to sew on. Both pieces of the beak you have to sew on. The little cheeks you have to sew on. This head stripe you have to sew on. And then this piece here that should have been chocolate and not espresso, it almost looks black, you have to sew on. And then there is the felt eyes. Now, it looks funny because it's black with white, but that's how it was supposed to be. But it needs to be a thinner oval, but not pointed. So I have to order the third die set that I saw. I was trying to they're not cheap, those. I mean, you can get them on Temu if you can find the right ones. But, of course, you're going to get it faster if you order from someplace like Amazon or one of those scrapbooking websites like Simon Says Stamps or whatever. And you could probably have better luck finding the right shape. I think with this wider one, it would have looked better if it was black on white instead of white on black. But she's not bad. There's a little bit of color changing here under the dress. You can barely see it. You can see it a little bit here. And that's Molly. If I had the right colors, she would be absolutely adorable. Just adorable. Well, the other part of that pattern is Ketchup, which is a modification of Molly. And Ketchup is so cute. But with Ketchup, I made a few changes. And if I make her again, which I probably will, I will make another change. When you do this one, the head is open and the body is open. You sew it on. She tells you to put the beak and all that kind of stuff on first and then sew the head on. On this one, I did them last because, you know, when you sew the head on, it always shifts. But I closed the head. I crocheted the legs in. And that left me with only the head piece, the beak, and the cheeks to have to sew on. But I did this one in brights. Now, the feet should have been chocolate. That was the only color I didn't have, so I used caramel. It looks fine. But I love this thing. She is so cute. Okay, here's her little face. And I think I might have got the mouth right because it's supposed to look like the mouth is open. So I think I got it right this time. Not on Molly because I didn't understand the directions. So, like I said, on this one, I closed the head. Oops, I forgot. She gets a little bow right here, a little white bow. I forgot to attach it. I made it, but I forgot to attach it. She has her pretty little blue dress. She's got all these rainbow colors. The little, like, tomato leaf on her head. Oh my gosh, she's adorable. So on this one, the only thing, because I crocheted in the legs, the only things I had to sew on was the beak, the little cheeks, and the headpiece. Now, when it came to doing the cheeks, to try and get them centered, which wasn't easy, I put them in place, and then I put a little glue in there, and then I sewed around the edge. To keep it from shifting, I used the glue. So I think I got them a lot better placement than I did on this one. It's a little off. The other thing that I would probably change on this, so she has this dress which covers up all of this color work on her belly. Now, this pink should have been coral, but Brights does not have a coral. But when her dress is in the right spot, like, you barely see it. So I'm like, why go through all that color change process? But she is so much bigger. I mean, way bigger than Molly. Same pattern. And that's just the difference in the yarns. I did completely enjoy making this one more than this one. Probably because there's a lot less sewing. The color changes, I cut and tied them all. And we're talking like, you got 2 stitches, 2 stitches, 3 stitches, back to the orange, back to the pink, back to the red. So, like I said, I probably would leave that out. I've never played the game, so I don't know if it's something that shows all the time. Like, would that take away from her being Ketchup? What do you think? I just think that's a lot of work for it just to be covered up by the dress. And then, like I said, I crocheted in the legs, so she still sits. Like, this part is really thin. You go back down to 6. Now, it looks a little thicker with this yarn than it does with, let's see if I can get that in there, with the Parfait Chunky. So this was a little harder to sew on. It was so much easier to crochet it in. And she still sits really nice. She will sit on the table. So I started this last night, and I was to the point of the sewing. And then I had to finish her up this morning. That's why I'm late recording, because I wanted to show her off. She's just so cute. And it's like adorable how it looks like her mouth opens. That part did take me a minute to figure out. And again, this is That Nerdy Hooker. She has some other patterns that I have to look at because they're just so cute. I don't need to be spending money on patterns, but you know I'm going to. I'm going to do it. And I don't know. I really like this. It's huge. I love it. I predict this will be one of the first ones to go at the next market. I could be wrong, but I really think this will be one of the first ones to go at the next market. Now, like I said, she needs her little white bow to go right here. And just adorable. Just adorable. So I couldn't help myself. I know I'm supposed to be restocking, but restocking makes it feel like work. This is supposed to be fun, so I have to have the new patterns to keep it fun. And I am just like thrilled to death that I got this so that I can do the felt eyes. I just need to find the right shape die cuts to make the different eyes. Because like to make Bluey, you need felt eyes. To make Stitch, you need felt eyes. To make these characters, you need felt eyes. I mean, it opens up the pattern realm for me a lot to be able to make my own felt eyes and not have to buy a $300 or $400 piece of equipment. So I'm just thrilled with that. And the felt, I just looked up stiff felt on Amazon and ordered some on there. So I have enough white felt to last me a lifetime, I am sure. The black I had from before, I ordered these already cut squares, but I have, ow. I have quite a bit of this. And then I have some yellow circles that I had ordered pre-cut before. And these I ordered when I was doing the Grinch. So I only have a few colors. I will need to get some more. But I'll just buy the regular sheets instead of pre-cut because it's going to be cheaper. And then the dies, like I said, you can get them like from Temu, but it's going to be way faster. I mean, they're all made in China anyways. It'll be way faster to get them than on Temu. Like, This one came from Temu. The circles came from Temu. These ovals, Sue, I have a question for you. How do you get these things to come apart without having the little nubby things? Focus. Those little nubby things sticking out. Because those are sharp. But this was the one that I used for Molly. And obviously the circles for Ketchup. I think that's such a cool name. I have a duck named Ketchup. So we did those. And I'm excited about being able to make some felt eyes. And I don't have to drive an hour away to go to get help with them. You know, I'd rather be able to just go and visit than say, hey, can you help me finish my Charmander? Because I don't have the stuff that I need to be able to do it on my own. But I do now. And like I said, I just couple more shapes on those little thin dies and I'll be good to go. And when I remake Molly, let me tell you, my youngest, Jenna, has developed a sense of humor. I told her that I was making Molly, and she's like, the drug? I was shocked. She, growing up, had no sense of humor, but she is actually growing a sense of humor. She was laughing so hard she had tears coming out of her eyes. So before I make Molly again, I need the other shape, oval, so that I can get it right, which I also need for Bluey. I'm pretty sure that was the one. But just a few things I would do different. And I decided, because I was watching Sue with something she was showing where she mixed the Home Slim and Sweet Snuggles Light with Mystical, I think it was, but one of the Bernats. So I could use my brights, and then for the two parts that I wouldn't have the right color, because like this is supposed to be coral on the cheeks, the Home Slim has that kind of peachy, orangish looking coral. Like this is Parfait Chunky's coral. And it is definitely more orange than this. But I would have a good yellow. And this could be the caramel instead of teddy bear. And then for this part here, I could also use Java, which might be a little too dark, or I have a little bit, without getting into my new terracotta, the one that Joanne sent me. I think the colors would be here. Do I have any teddy bear here? No. Oh, the caramel. That would be enough of a color difference to make that headpiece, and I think it would look good. So that's my plan for that. And I might do the eyes reversed, white with the black, and it wouldn't look so weird. It's the only weird is the only word I could come up with. But that's what I made. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, finished up Ketchup on Wednesday. So I think I did okay. Now, of course, we have to come up with the price for this, and it's huge. So, what do you guys think? We'll figure it out. I'm thinking 40 and up Not sure exactly. I can't tell you how long it took me because I did it in the 2 settings. It did go much faster than this one went because I dropped that because of just being a little more familiar with the pattern. And of course, the next time would be even more faster. But I got to look at her other patterns. Anywho, that is what I have been able to get made. So we're going to go, and we will see you in the next video.